Alright guys, welcome back for another media analysis video. So coming now to a few short ideas in terms of ways that the composition and layout of an ad can be structured, and it has to do with the overall composition, the layout, and the direction we read an ad. So it has to do with where our eyes go. Okay, and this first one is called the Z form in advertising. So it has to do with the organization of the visual elements, like how are they arranged. So you can think of arrangement and placement of the different elements. So the Z-form theory, as you can see from the graphic, it looks like the letter Z, right? In that box. So it's a theory used to organize the visual information on a page that demonstrates how eyes track over an ad. So we tend to, in the West anyway, and in many other places, we read from left to right when we read a book, right? And we also go down the page. So in a sense, it's kind of like taking a shortcut going down, right? Like that. So according to one theory, if you learn to read left to right, English, Spanish, French, your eyes will scan over the page from left to right in a Z form, unless a design element directs your attention elsewhere. So we're just trained that this is the fastest way for us to scan to get information that we're looking for from something that we know is visually arranged. Okay? Not sure how that works in other cultures, but marketing firms use this theory to place the elements where they will catch your eyes. So they want to anticipate the movement of the eye, right? The eye movement of their audience, and put the elements strategically, in those spots. Maybe here, maybe dead center, whatever. You get the idea. There will be an element to lead your eyes in, something catchy, maybe right in the middle. So maybe that's the biggest element. And the logo or message will frequently appear in the lower middle area and the right. We saw that with the Pepsi ad. If you remember, they had a logo way down on the bottom here with a little catchphrase, and they had the Pepsi can kind of almost center. Okay, how light works is also an important factor because human eyes tend to look toward the lighter color. And that was the olives that we're all looking at, the Pepsi here. It was much brighter behind the background there where the light was. So think about where the lighter colors are, and is light color used to draw the eye to the product? In this case, they were really creative because they light color. They made it look like eyes that were looking at that direction toward the product in that one Pepsi ad that we looked at. So imagine you turn the ad upside down. Where do your eyes go from within the advertisement? Can you still, if you flip this upside down, can you still track that Z shape? Now, the same techniques are used to place elements in newspaper or magazine stories and other non-ad print applications. Right side placement is considered superior, and the right page advertising frequently costs more than the left page. In an article, the more compelling photos tend to appear on the right pages. So imagine you have like a spread in a newspaper. Well, they're saying this side is more important than this side. Just something to do, I guess, with our emphasis visually. Okay, let's look at an example. Here's a Red Bull skateboarder magazine ad. And you notice the plane in the background implies that one can be successful enough to reach this plane when drinking Red Bull. But the plane actually starts our eye coming in, like the plane is almost coming in off screen, and our eye starts to go in this direction. Do we see that? Leading right to this height number board. So the height meter shows the skateboarder has achieved great heights by using Red Bull, supposedly. Skateboarder is even almost as high as the plane. But this number goes down in terms of the actual number count. But our eye doesn't immediately go down. Our eye bounces from here and goes straight to the skateboarder. And the yellow helmet can appeal to a teenage audience and catches our eye. And there's kind of a yellow on the plane there. But that catches our eye, and he's smack dab in the center. Then we would go down here, and there's nothing really here for us to look at. So immediately we would go back this way and realize, like, wow, he has he's come way higher than this level. So supposedly it's like super powerful Red Bull, right? Obviously they want to appeal to teenage boys and stuff based on that. Now, visually though, there's more in the ad than just the number thing. So we could stop there, but if we had the print ad, it's weird because we have this annotated ad. But imagine, we had the full piece of paper in our hand. Our eye would actually go down here and read this text now. Red Bull gives me the energy I need to make it to the top. And we go straight across reading that. And so truly we have got the Z shape very clearly. Okay. So here's our tagline, gives us the message. Red Bull supposedly gives you the energy that will make you successful. It gives the star power of having this famous athlete endorse it. You have the logo here. Since the logo is down there, I guess technically, I got to make the border lower. And look at the lower right placement of the logo, just like the theory said. So it makes the logo stand out in bold colors and the matching kind of style. So clearly using the Z form arrangement here. Okay, next topic in this video is called media anchorage. Okay, so this has to do with the theory and the language of visual literacy, which is connected to media literacy, right? But it's more than just media. It can appear in many different forms. So we talked about this idea slightly before when we introduced the idea. Anchorage, right? If there's a boat on the water and it wants to stop in one place, you throw down the anchor, which kind of looks like that, I guess. All right, throw down the anchor. It's a big iron thing, and it holds in place. Hold something in place. Okay, so it gives a stability and a point of focus as well. So what this means, it was originally a term used by a theorist, Roland Barthes, a famous writer on semiotics, that's of language, to describe the interaction of words and visual text. A photograph, according to Barthes, is open to interpretation, or is polysemic, meaning it can have many meanings. When written text is added in the form of a caption, So captions when it's written below, down here, below the photo. Or if there's an advertising slogan, this will anchor the meaning. It will give it a point of focus, and it will hold a place to give a certain meaning to the image. So really it's directing us in terms of what to think the image means. Okay? This leads the reader toward the preferred reading of the visual text. Words written on a visual text closes the meaning of the image. So they're forcing us to interpret the visual element through the words of the caption down below. So he argued that the principal function of Anchorage was ideological. So they want to convince us of their perspective. This is perhaps most obvious when photographs are used in contexts such as newspapers. Photograph captions typically present themselves as neutral labels for what exists in the depicted world, whilst actually serving to define the terms of reference and point of view from which it is to be seen. For instance, it is very common practice for the captions of news photographs to tell us, in words, exactly how the subject's expression ought to be read. Now, read this image, meaning look at the picture below, and write your own caption to anchor the meaning. So here's a soldier fixing looks like a tank behind a captain. This captain looks very tired. He's got his face in his hands. He's thinking deeply, maybe. So think about, are you going to put a negative or a positive anchor here? You can totally change the interpretation of the image depending on if you put negative or positive. We could say it was an exhausting but victorious battle in place X. Here, but victorious, so now I've said he's exhausted, but they won the victory. Okay? You could say he was depressed, after losing the battle. Notice how the image doesn't say anything. It's only the anchor that gives the interpretation. Okay, so that's media anchorage. Has to do with text interpreting the image. Okay, lastly, intertextuality. This is the way a text refers to other media texts that producers assume you'll recognize. So these are like references to pop culture, famous people, famous literature maybe, or events, etc. Okay, so here's an example below. Who's this guy? You should immediately recognize him. Okay, Yoda. Okay, what's he from? Star Wars. What's he famous for? Jedi. And he's a fighter. Says, we taxes don't pay. Vodafone cash book. So, Vodafone selling this product, cash book, and saying you don't have to pay taxes, but they put it in Yoda grammar because he talks a little bit funny, right? So it's using humor and the reference to Yoda and maybe leveraging Star Wars because it's famous. So they're using Star Wars to sell their product. Everyone knows Yoda, so ha ha ha, we get the joke. Alright, so those are 3 things to consider in your arsenal.